Madam Chair, thank you for the bill. Obviously, a bunch of us are opposed to it. Well, first of all, I'll talk about my questions on the bill, and then I'll do my I'll do my speculating or my recall of what happened the last 2 years and the bigger picture of why are we doing this. But as we look at the bill, Madam Chair, I think human ingenuity will outmaneuver government to the extent that it can, when it can. And we've seen that with all the businesses that have gone to other countries because we've taxed the gajibers out of them here in the U.S. And they flew out of here. And we're seeing businesses fleeing Minnesota now for the same reason. And we can't deny that tax policy has an effect on that. And I see kind of the same thing here with this. Are we taking into account what the businesses will actually do and how they will react to this? The transparency of this tax compared to an income tax is much lower, or a sales tax, where people actually know they're paying it, when they're paying it. And I understand when you want to raise taxes, you may want to do it in a way that people don't know what they're doing. You don't have the blame coming back at you, but it's less transparent. We're throwing mud and splashing mud onto the windshield of transparency with this. And instead of having a tax that's transparent to people and they know they're paying it, this is going to be sent, the companies are going to send this tax down to the consumer level, just like corporations and other businesses and businesses taxes send those taxes down to the consumers. Same thing's going to happen here. It's going to be no different. And the people aren't going to know that they got taxed, but it's going to be a regressive tax, just like the corporate tax is. It's going to be probably among our most regressive taxes in Minnesota if this ever makes its way through the court. I'm concerned about reliability of this tax. A couple of members have mentioned, and you've acknowledged it'll probably be challenged in court, be struck down in the court. If we're relying on this tax and we get in the next biennium and we don't have the revenues coming in, that's probably not a good place to be. Also, the technologies. Again, people in and outside the companies and the consumers both are going to find ways to commit to avoidance of sharing of their information, VPNs and other things that they'll put up in order as a consumer or even to accommodate them as a business to avoid this tax. It's a natural human behavior that is bound to happen, and I'm very concerned that the reliability of this tax is going to be something that would put us into a very bad position. I did mention it was a regressive tax, but I was really kind of taken aback at kind of maybe some of the members' discussion and certainly some of the testifiers that came in. The people are already here showing up to testify to say they want to spend the money, Madam Chair, and the corn pile hasn't even formed yet. And that seems to be the motivation for doing this tax. That motivation, the other one that I sensed was an envy. There's big piles of money up there and we got to go get them. That's what I heard from some members. Those are bad people because they have our social media. And Senator Hochul, I share some of the things with social media with you, but the good book says envy is a sin, and I don't think that's a motivation that we should have as a state for considering this as a tax. Not one out of envy. We should have one that makes sense, that's predictable, that's reliable, that's honest, that's transparent, that's not going to change over time, that's not going to be affected and not going to encourage businesses to flee our state and further degrade the economy in our great state. But just sharing with what some of my colleagues have said, Madam Chair, and other members that have spoken, this is not just trying to find a new, better way to tax things. If indeed this is the right tax to do because of this is where we are today, then where is a corresponding part of the proposal that reduces taxes somewhere else? It isn't. It's not there. This is just the effort by the majority in this body to raise taxes in the face of the fact that we've spent $19 billion. And I brought proposals, and I can't get them heard, to reduce and get rid of some of the stuff we did in the last 2 years. All we got to do is undo a third of what was done in the last 2 years and have the political will to do it. We don't need to have this tax increase or any of the other tax increase proposals that are coming forward because they won't be necessary. And they aren't necessary. All we have to do is back off of some of the wild-eyed, trifecta-driven policies that have come and burdened our state and that are chasing our people and our businesses out of here so we can regain our competitive competition again. So anyway, those are my thoughts, Madam Chair. It is a novel idea, I'll grant you that. I think it's a bad idea. I think it would be a weak tax. I think it would be a regressive tax, probably one you would probably not like in another 5 or 10 years. Thank you, Mr. Chair.